في المرة اللي فاتت حكينا على الارithmetic والgeometric methods, and we agree on that both methods concludes approximately similar answers with regard to risk, يعني حسب الريسك. طيب اليوم حنحكي على reward to volatility, نحكي على sharp ratio. خلينا نرجع ل this chart again. نرجع لهذا التشارت. Okay. Just if we have A and B, if we have stock A and stock B, and this is sigma, and this is the expected return, my question is, which is more preferable, stock A or stock B? شو هو الأفضل, stock A ولا stock B? Stock B. Why stock B? Huh? More return, but in the same time it's holding higher risk. So we cannot say this. نقدرش نحكم الكلام هذا, because some investors acquire lower return with the lower risk. Other investors acquire higher return with a higher risk. Okay? So some investors prefer A, others investors prefer B. يعني بعض المستثمرين بفضلوا A, بعض المستثمرين الآخرين بفضلوا B. Okay. لكن نقدرش نحكم if you only focus on return and if we only focus on risk. يعني إذا إحنا بس بنركز بالريتيرن على وحده أو بنركز على الريسك لوحده, it is not useful. فشارب develop a ratio which called sharp ratio, لأنه هي طورته باسمه, and this sharp ratio link the return with the risk. تربط الريتيرن مع الريسك. اوكي, يعني لو اجينا احنا ل A و B, حكينا ال return تبع A is 6% and this is 9%, and the sigma, which is the risk of A, is 0.12, and the sigma of B is 0.75. Okay, so now A holding lower return and lower risk, as well as B holding higher return and higher risk. At the moment, we cannot conclude which investment we should prefer. يعني للحظة هذه ما بنقدرش to conclude أي واحدة أفضل, A ولا B. So we need a ratio that's combining the return and risk together. نحتاج لريشيو, لمعادلة بتعمل mixing or combining للريتيرن والريسك مع بعض. إنه إحنا بنحتاج لمعادلة تخلطهم مع بعض to mix this and end with one figure and one figure. Just compare this with this. And this is what's being done by Sharp. وهذا اللي سووه Sharp. Sharp just mixing the return, the excess return with the excess standard deviation. Okay, look at Sharp ratio. The numerator in the Sharp ratio, يعني البسط تبع Sharp ratio, is the risk premium. بيحسب الريسك premium. What it means risk premium, if you look at this chart, and this is sigma 1 and this is sigma 2. Sigma 1 is a measure of risk, because and this is A and this is B. Because B holding higher risk, so it should be compensated by the market by this. لأنه B بتحمل مخاطر أعلى, إذا لازم نعوضها بعائد أكتر. فهذا بنسميه risk premium. هذا المنطقة اسمها risk premium. Why risk premium? Why risk premium? ليش risk premium? Because B holding higher risk. Because it's holding higher risk, it's compensated by higher return. Okay? So this is the risk premium. And so this is the return. And then divided by the standard deviation of excess return. So we calculate the standard deviation. The standard deviation is the risk of excess return. What it means, the risk of excess return, it means what is the probability to get this return. احتمال الحصول على excess return. يعني what is the probability to get this excess return. ايش احتمال? Okay, we agree this is a compensation from the market because B is holding greater risk than A. This is fine. But the second question, we are uncertain that the market can give this return. لكن المشكلة الثانية إنه إحنا مش متأكدين السوق حيعطينا الريتيرن ولا لا. risk. يعني إيش عرفنا إحنا الريسك أول زمان قبل 3 محاضرات 4 محاضرات قلنا is uncertainty. So uncertainty here in this case means we are unsure, we are uncertain to get this excess return. So closely speaking يعني كتير يعني نأكد closely speaking that the Sharpe ratio consider the excess return which is risk premium divided by the risk. يعني بالأخير هي هذا return divided by risk. Return, so we get 9% for instance as a return, but the problem to what extent we are certain to get 9%. لأي درجة إنه إحنا متأكدين نحصل على 9%. So the Sharpe ratio combining between the return and risk. Okay? The Sharpe ratio combining between the return and risk. Okay. Let's now to give example of A and B. خلينا when we calculate A, the Sharpe ratio of A is 0.38. مين كان أول A ولا B؟ B 4 كانت ها؟ Okay, so 35. And B is 41. So we calculate Sharpe ratio for A and B. حسبنا ال Sharpe ratio ل A and B. And we find that A is 35 and B is 41. What it means? لا أنا أعطيتك مثال. طبعا كيف طلعناها؟ طلعناها بالريسك بريميوم divided by standard deviation of excess return. Okay. تمام ريسك بريميوم. هعطيكم مثال ما تخافوش. This is what I'm asking you. What it means. Based on your understanding of this. What it means, which is more preferable? Investors prefer A or B? متذكرين لما حكينا الريتيرن والريسك we get confused. Some people prefer A, others prefer B. But now, just one single answer. إجابة واحدة حتكون. Which you prefer, A or B? Okay, B, why? You are right, B, but why? Why B? Why it is أعلى? What is B? إيش B? Okay.
Because the return will increase in the future.
Okay.
The performance of stocks is
Well,
greater than.
when you explain this, focus on two things. Focus on return focus in the excess return and risk together. لأنه هدول إحنا قلنا إنه كانت المشاكل بالريتيرن لوحده والسيجما لوحدها إنه you judge on return and you judge on risk. But now you judge on both. مع بعض التنين بدك تحكي. So what it means?
Risk premium have positive relation with the standard deviation of return.
Okay. What is the difference between 35 and 41? What is the difference?
Higher than.
Okay, we know higher than. What it means?
The return and risk higher than.
The return is higher. Okay, regarding
and
who?
risk is higher.
No. فكروا.
هي النقطة بتجمع ما بينهم.
اوكي بتجمع ما بينهم. تمام اوكي. then تجمع بيناتهم بعدين.
يعني هو احنا قارنا ما بين الموضوع والعقد مع
بنات. ولا في اسهل من الكالكوليشنز.
الريتيرن اعلى من الريسك هنا.
ولا في اسهل من الكالكوليشنز. بتجيبكم معادله نقول لكم احسبوها الكل بيحسبها. وبتاخذوا 100% في الحسابات. لكن the problem is how to explain the result. المشكلة كيف الريزلت what it means. يعني بيجوا بيقولوا لنا احسبوا liquidity ratio is fine. Okay, what it means liquidity ratio then? Okay, activity ratio that's fine. So what it means? احنا بدناش نكون stereotyping. عارفين stereotyping انه نيجي ونسمع. ما ينفعش. Okay, look at this. ايش حكيته صح؟ انه we prefer B over A. This is fine. But what is the explanation? So as I said, you have two eyes. The first one, which is your right side, looking at the return, and the second, the left, looking at the risk. So the numerator here is the risk premium, which is the excess return. Okay? And here is the risk. What it means? It means if we are holding 1 unit of risk in B, it generated 41%. But if we hold 1 unit in A, it generated 35. In other words, if we invest $1 in B, it means we can make 0.41 cent. But if we invest $1 in A, we can make 35 cents. خلينا بالعربي شو نحكي انه وحدة واحدة مخاطر في B تعطيني عائد زيادة 41. يعني إذا أنا تحملت وحدة واحدة من المخاطر في B بتعطيني عائد زائد 41 سنت. لكن إذا أنا تحملت وحدة مخاطرة في A بتعطيني 35. إذا
يعني الريسك بيكون فيكس.
ما احنا we standardize. دائما لما احنا بنقسم مقسوم عليه بيكون standardize. standardize يعني موحد يعني بصير. اوكي؟ يعني مثلا ببساطة لما يكون احنا عندنا 10 تفاحات بدنا نقسمهم على 5 أولاد. 10 تفاحات don't laugh. This is the idea of division. هذه فكرة الديفيجن. فكرة القسمة. لما يكون عندي 10 تفاحات 10 apples and we have 5 boys. So how many apples for each boy? كم تفاحة لكل ولد? You just 10 divided by 5. So it is 2. What it means 2? It means one boy holding 2 apples. مظبوط؟ ولد له تفاحتين. And in the same vein, similarly, وبالتشابه, it's 1 unit of risk generates 41% of return. Okay? ومرات البرنسبلز هاي تبعت الرياضيات والهذه some people they get confused what it means. بعض الناس they get confused. They don't know exactly what it means division or what it means the other functions of mathematics. So again, the idea of Sharpe ratio is if we're holding 1 unit in risk for a particular stock, how much excess return generate to the investors. the higher the ratio is, the more preferable to the investors. يعني كل ما كانت الريشيو أعلى كل ما كانت الانفستورز كانوا بفضلوا هذه الاكسس ريتيرن. مفهوم يا بنات؟ ها commensurate. Commensurate it means compensate. Why are you laughing? Commensurate. شوفوا ايش معنى commensurate. Commensurate it means هلا طلعوا عن احنا هاي A وهاي B. اوكي؟ في الماثماتكس لما نيجي نحكي لانه سيجما 1 سيجما 2 because we holding higher risk, the financial market commensurate us. يعني بكافئنا. Okay? By giving higher return. بيعطينا higher return. هذا بسمى commensurate. Okay? That's it. طيب نفس الكلام لأنه كل ما احنا هذه بتزيد كل ما الريسك بيزيد. So it's this similar to the what you are asking. Okay? But any question? No? طيب. Okay. Be attention here. This is important as well. انتبهوا للكلام هذا. Now, the problem of be attention here. Okay, be attention here. When we measure the return, we measure return by using arithmetic and geometric. Fine. And when we measure risk, we measure the standard deviation, variance, which is sigmas. ها حكينا الكلام ده. لما بنحسب الريتيرن بنحسبه بالاريثماتيك والجيومتريك. ولما حسبنا الريسك حسبناه بالسيجماز سيجما ستاندرد ديفيشن اور فاريانس اللي هو الانحراف المعياري والتباين. مظبوط؟ اوكي. The problem of these measures, المشكلة في هاي الميجرز we only apply them when our data or our observation follows a normal distribution. يعني المشكلة إنه بنحسب السيجما والميو يعني الاريثماتيك إذا كانت الداتا or observation follows the normal distribution. إذا كان عندنا توزيع طبيعي. طبعا بعرف إنه أنتم ماخذين statistics إحصاء. What it means normal distribution. شو معنى normal distribution؟ توزيع طبيعي. ها؟ شو توزيع طبيعي؟ ما أخذتوا إحصاء صح؟ مين ما أخذش إحصاء؟ أخذتوا إحصاء. درسوكوا في الجامعة موضوع normal distribution توزيع طبيعي؟ طب what it means؟ بس. أوكي الرسمة عبير وصمي لها الرسمة تاعته. Just try. مش مشكلة. Just try to figure out. Because this is important. امحل هذا وورجينا النورمال ديستريبيوشن. اوكي اكسلنت. بس في التيل رايح على الرايت. خلي التيل زي مشابهين لبعض. عارفه ايش التيل يعني؟ تيل يعني الدنب. اوكي looks fine. Looks fine. Okay. شكرا. This is the normal distribution. If we have, for instance, normal distribution, توزيع طبيعي, in this shape, it looks like bill shape. Bill shape. تشبه البيل shape يعني زي الجرس bill shape. There is symmetry if we half this, just we excuse حبيبي just to draw it back. يعني احنا بناخد إذن منها to draw it back. Okay. So if you half this into two sections, so yeah, it's approximately shows the similar or a mirror. So the right side is a mirror of the left side. يعني the right side هو mirror لل left side. Okay. This is the normal distribution. So it means if we have a daily return for a particular stock and we calculate the daily return, for instance, in the day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on, and we just draw the chart. إذا إحنا أخذنا daily return يعني العوائد اليومية مثلا ل 250 يوم وعملنا لهم chart، يعني حطيناهم chart رسما. For instance, maybe this 0, most of the days is zeros. Okay, and here, for instance, 1%, 5%, 12%, and here 20%. And here the same 1, 5, but minus this. And 12% minus 20%. We try to calculate mean, median, and mode. Okay. So if our data is follow a normal distribution, mean, median, and mode conclude same points. يعني إذا حسبنا المين الافريج صح؟ Okay. Median, it halves the data into two separate numbers. يعني الميديان تقسمهم إلى أعداد متساوية. المود هو the frequency of a particular، فلقيناهم كلهم أعطوني 0. يعني كل أكثر ال frequencies 0. إذا إحنا we have this، شفتوا الداتا، if we calculate mu يعني الوسط الحسابي، بنلاقي انه the right side approximately equal the left side. الجانب اليمين تقريبا بيساوي جانب الشمال. Okay. So this is normal distribution. But the problem is sometimes the data is not normally distributed. لكن data مرات ما بتكونش normal distributed. Okay, ما بتكونش موزع توزيع طبيعي. We will go back to this. Just picture this. تذكروها وحنرجع نحكي فيها. From the investment perspective، من وجهة نظر المستثمرين، if the observation or if the data follow the normal distribution, it's fine, and it's easier for them to form up their portfolios. يعني إذا كانت الداتا الobservations توزيعها طبيعي زي ما احنا شفنا، فالportfolio managers it easily for them to forming up portfolios. يعني بصير سهلة جدا عليهم إنه هم يكونوا portfolios. Otherwise يعني إذا ما كانتش هيك، otherwise it may face challenges in forming up the portfolios, and they have to use other metrics. Metrics معناها مقاييس أخرى. They have to use other metrics to estimate the risk عشان يتنبؤوا بالريسك. Okay. So the investment management is easier with them when return are normal distributed. إذا كانت normal, like in this shape. Then, based on this, sigma or standard deviation is a good measure of risk when returns are symmetric. زي ما أنتم شايفين السيجما، يعني إذا حسبنا sigma this, let's try it another. So sigma 1 is equal sigma 1. يعني standard deviation of this side is equal standard deviation of this one. Okay. So in this case, standard deviation is a good measure of risk when returns are symmetric. Symmetric, it means are equally distributed. If not, if security returns are symmetric, portfolio returns will be too. إذا كان symmetric كمان البورتفوليو لما نعمل محفظة استثمارية بيكون التوزيع تبعها توزيع طبيعي. توزيع الريتيرن. يعني بنحصل على توزيعات بهذا الشكل portfolios. Future scenarios can be estimated using only the mean and the standard deviation. فبعد هيك إذا كان كل شيء تمام بيكون كل الكالكوليشنز تبعتنا وكل الحسابات عشان نعمل فورمينج للبورتفوليوز. بورتفوليوز يعني المحافظ. بس بنستخدم المين and the standard deviation. يعني نستخدم المين and the standard deviation. If not, إذا الكلام هذا مش صحيح, we no longer use sharp ratio, standard deviation, and the mu. إذا الداتا تبعتنا مش normally distributed, we cannot use the standard deviation and sharp ratio as well. نقدرش نستخدم ال standard deviation والسيجما. خلينا بس نركز هان. So this part, look at this part. هذا البارت اللي باليلو. This is sigma 2. It should have the sigma 2 or the second sigma, and this is the second sigma. This part is the third sigma, and this part is the third sigma. Finally, this part, this is small part, you know this? This is the fourth sigma, and this is the fourth sigma as well. I know this is new things for you. أنا بعرف هذا إشي جديد عليكم. But I think إيه؟ طيب ما هو تخافوش. اصبروا علينا بس تخافوش. هذا حتتوضح بس يعني just to understand. In other words, إنه طلعوا هذا الميو الموجودة هان is a mirror of the mu here. The second sigma is the variance. هو الvariance. The third sigma is the skewness. The fourth sigma is the kurtosis. Okay. هذه second sigma هي ال standard deviation. هذا مفهومة. The third sigma هي ال skewness or the skew. سمعتوا في skew؟ And fourth sigma والله سمعتوا فيها بس اصبر. skew. ايش الميل بسموها؟ الايش skew. الالتواء. ايوه لا المفلطح شغلة ثانية لا. الالتواء تمام. The fourth sigma here is the kurtosis. Okay? kurtosis. اللي هو kurtosis ايش معناها؟ kurtosis اللي هي التفلطح الفلاتنج. هي هيك التفلطح. Okay, kurtosis. It means if the data look at this is a chart. This data is normal distributed. هذه الداتا هي normal distributed. If it is not, look at the third sigma here. If it is not, so we no longer use the second sigma or the variance or the standard deviation. نقدرش نستخدم because mu here is not equal to mu here. خلينا نشوف. Look at this chart. Is this follow normal distribution? No. This is positive. Yes. Okay. So look at here. The mu here is not equal to the mu here. This is fine. as well as, because of this, we cannot use the standard deviation, because the standard deviations are not equally distributed. Where is the problem then? The problem is the third, which is this part, the third sigma is greater than the third sigma here, as well as the fourth sigma is greater than the fourth sigma here. Very simple. يعني الثيرد sigma هان هي أكبر من الثيرد sigma هان والfourth sigma is, so the third sigma here, which is this skewness, this curve is the skew to the right, which means it has a positive skewness. Yes, positive. So the skew here is positive, which means it's greater than 0. Greater than 0. What it means greater than 0, إيش معنى إنه القيم الأوتلايرز في outliers بتعمل pulling the average up، تعمل سحب للأفريج إلى أعلى. Okay. أغلب الداتا متوفرة، most of the data is in here. لكن في outliers is pushing or pulling the data up. فبصير الميو والافريج is misleading. بصير الافريج مش دقيق. يعني مثلا لو اجينا احنا اعطاكم بيانات كالتالي، علامات الطلاب مثلا، علامات الطلاب، اجينا مثلا طالب اخذ 100 وبدينا الطلاب 50 40 30 11 55 54 60. ايش بنلاقي؟ انه احنا في عندنا 99 بنلاقي انه في شكل الكيرف هذا انه most of the data are focusing between 50 to 60. اغلب الداتا بتتركز بال 50 60. But because of the outliers، شايفين الاوتلايرز هدول is trying to push up the average. بيحاولوا انه الافريج ينبعث او ينسحب لاعلى. اوكي. The good news for you, so the good news for you, I'm not asking you to calculate the skewness or the kurtosis. أنا مش طالبكم إنه أنتوا تحسبوا ال skew and the kurtosis, because لأنه there is في good news لكم إنه مش مطلوب منكم تحسبوا ال skewness or the kurtosis. مش مطلوب. skew بدي احسبها very simple. هي عبارة عن الميو minus x bar, okay, divided by sigma raised to the cube. Okay, and this is هذا السكيو. نحسب هي عبارة، اكتب لكم اياها المعادلة واضحة بس. السكيو حتساوي اللي هو r minus r bar raised to the power 3 divided by sigma raised to the power 3. هذا عشان نحسب السكيو. يعني سهلة، نجيب ال r minus r bar و raised to the power 3، بعدين هاي السيجما raised to the power 3. very simple. الكورتوسيس is equal r minus r bar raised to the power 4 divided by sigma raised to the power 4 minus 3. Okay? If the result of this Q here, this is what you want. If the result of this Q here is positive, it means the curve is shift to the curve is skewed to the right. Okay? If it is negative, so the curve is skewed to the left. Okay. Why this is important to the investors? why this is important to the investors. ليش هذا مهم للinvestors? This is a very important point. If the curve is skewed to the right, it means people overestimate risk. People overestimate risk. If the skew is negative, it means people underestimate risk. Okay? Now for the tortoises, okay, if the skew is 0, what it means? If it is 0, what it means? Normal distribution. إذا كان the skew is 0, يعني what it means? The difference between this and this is 0. يعني شوفوا هذا الثird minus third is 0. فمعنى الكلام is the data, the third is equal to the third, which is the data is normally distributed. If the third here is greater than the third here, it means the data is on the right. Is skewed to the right. If the third here is greater than the third here, it means to the left. Okay. Now, what is the tortoises? The tortoises, it means to what extent our data is flat. لأي درجة الداتا تبعتنا flat. flat يعني مفلطحة. اوكي. وهاي عندكم الفيرست سيجما والسكند سيجما والثيرد سيجما واضحة؟ طلعوا هان. انتبهوا يا بنات هان. Look at here. Look at the hard black line. This one. So it is skewed to the right. Why it is the right? Because it is positive. 0.75. Look at this one, which is skewed to the left by minus 0.75. The one with the this one, which is normal, the black one. Look at the normal one. This one. No, this one. Look at this one. The red one now. The red is normally distributed because its skew is 0. لأنه السكيو تبعتها إيش؟ 0. Okay? So now, look at the tortoises. The tortoises اطلعوا على التيلز تبعت طلعوا the tail تبعت الtortoises. It has a fat tail. Fat tail. Okay? عندهم fat tail. The data is concentrated in the top. وتطلعوا التيل ما بيعملش تاتش مع شوفوا التيل هذا كيف شكله. اوكي اللقاء الجاي ان شاء الله بنكمل الكلام هذا.